luck to both of us.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Again, I'm sitting here with Randy Cummins. I have never met him in person until this very moment. In fact, we were just laughing about how we don't even remember how we became connected or why.
Not at all. And seemingly we're getting along fine.
Yes, we are.
Because we all are connected in some way.
Yes, we are.
That's a lovely thing.
So I think what we've decided is we became friends through Facebook, and probably because we're both body workers, and body workers love to connect with other body workers
Oh, yeah.
for all kinds of reasons. So Randy, will you please give me your life story? Because I really want to know, I know, in 20 words or less, I'd really love to know how you got to where you are today.
Well, as far as just keeping my life story confined to body work,
Yeah.
I've been in practice and teaching actively for 35 years. And I originally went to school in Chicago, where I live now, at the Chicago School of Massage Therapy.
Mm.
And upon graduation, they asked me to start teaching, and then I started teaching. And then after a year or so, I apprenticed for 3 years with a man, Jeffrey Beach, who put me on the path of Asian bodywork and traditional Chinese medicine. So over the years, I've integrated it into a system I've been calling Shoshin Shiatsu, which means in Japanese translation, beginner's mind. So it's an integrative form of body work. I have training and have taught in myofascial, deep tissue, Swedish, a lot of acupressure, shiatsu, and Thai.
Wonderful.
So I chose the name, or maybe the name chose me. I'm not quite certain. Shoshin, because of the aspect of beginner's mind. Because one of the things that I keep in mind and I practice when I both do my practice and teach is I don't really know what is going to happen. I am not working under any assumption that if I do this, this is going to happen. So it's like working without expectation, which is a premise in Chinese medicine.
I love it.
Yeah, I do too. Yes, and I have a practice here and in Austin, Texas. And I've been teaching primarily in Chicago and in Evanston, which is a suburb of Austin, at a lovely shiatsu school, Zen Shiatsu, Chicago. It's just been a grand journey. I mean, every day I just have loved it ever since. It's made me grow in so many different ways. It's made me realize so many different things. And right now, in the situation that we all find ourselves in collectively, the tools, the abilities, the opportunities that I've cultivated through those 35 years is helping me right now.
Yes.
One of the biggest things in Chinese medicine is the situation of yin and yang, which is a classification of our life experience. And yang is a sense that is more expansive and is all about going out and growth. And the United States has sort of an exemplary example of that. We're always trying to get more and more and more. But now, as people, we're asked to go in. And a lot of people aren't used to that.
Right.
They have a hard time being not only in, but with themselves. Yeah. So now we have this experience, and now we're going to find out what it's all about. Like how all the things that perhaps we haven't been acknowledging so much that we need to shed a little light on for our own resolution and growth. So, you look at everything as having some aspect of positivity in it. I think that's it.
Absolutely. Yes. I've seen myself go through these yin and yang cycles, and I'm coming out of a long yin cycle.
Oh.
Which is kind of funny because many other people are going into a yin cycle now.
Oh, many.
And I feel so much need and desire and genuine interest in coming out.
Yeah. Well, this it gives you opportunity. It's a welcome, and thank you again for this.
Yeah.
Just the opportunity to connect with another face, uh,
Yeah.
another being, and
Yeah.
also just talk about our collective experience. So thanks.
Yeah. You're welcome. I'm really grateful to everyone who's signing up for this.
Yeah.
Um, I'd love to hear about, I mean, you can't just flip a switch and decide, I'm going to have a beginner mind, right?
I wish. No, it's more like a longer kind of aspect, and you never. It's like anything, it's like you don't become that. It's always catching yourself. It's like you start drifting off and you go, oh wait, let's bring it back in. It's
Yeah.
like that's what meditation is basically, right? I mean, we sit and then all of a sudden our mind starts going, 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 but then you just ease it, try to bring it back in a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like I mentioned earlier, I'll try not to touch my face so much. Sorry. I apologize to everyone.
Ah.
I'm sitting on my hands right now. You can't see it. Um, in a lot of different disciplines, but in the discipline that was put in my path this lifetime, I was very much schooled traditionally in shiatsu and traditional Chinese medicine.
Mm.
So along with all the years of studying the theory, there was also practices that cultivated that sense of beginner's mind.
Mm.
So when I was schooled during those 3 years of apprenticeship, we learned theory, we learned techniques, but also there was traditional aspects that we practiced and cultivated, and
Mm.
they were meditation.
Mm.
We also did flower arranging, which was a very traditional
Oh,
aspect. So you look at not only putting things together, but the space in between things.
oh,
The
beautiful.
traditional name, yes, it is beautiful. The traditional name for that was the sky between the branches.
Oh,
So you look not only at that, and then you look at the space in between, and it helps to cultivate a pause.
mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of times that's what's missing in our actions and reactions with other people is that pause. Or as my mother used to say, you better think before you say something. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like something comes in and we don't have this almost muscle memory reaction to the situation, which then makes everything sort of inappropriate. It's
Yeah.
like, wow, why are you reacting that way? Because you have some memory about some stimulus that you just got. So the whole thing is to try to cultivate some pause so you can actually see what's appropriate now, you know. So in doing that and that pause, you sort of have beginner's mind, or it slowly starts to seep in, and then it reflects in every aspect of your life experience. When you're cooking, when you're walking, when you're initiating contact with other people, when you're doing body work. I
Yes.
mean, that those pauses are the whole thing. Oh, the pauses help connect all the actions. So, uh,
Yeah.
and also, meditation has been a lovely cornerstone in my life
Mm.
because I really can't think of being without it at this point. I mean, it keeps me grounded,
Mm-hmm.
and it keeps things in perspective. And even though I like being prepared, I try not to trip out too much on what if this happens, what if this happens, and what if this happens. That is not beginner's mind.
Right.
And that's trippy, getting yourself all freaked out mind. I don't know what the traditional name for that is, but
Yeah.
so yeah, so we just try to, or I try to do that on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So that's been huge. And it's not like then you have it. Not for me anyway, because something happens and I feel myself, and I just, okay, let's bring it back in. And that's really helped my work and my teaching. And I would like to think my relationships with people try to act appropriately, and
Yeah.
that to me is maybe a broader definition of beginner's mind, but definitely some aspect of it.
Oh, I love it. And I love the idea of arranging the flowers or
Oh, that
arranging the
was,
cabinet or arranging whatever in your life, paying attention to the matter and the space between the matter.
Yeah. Oh, that's a nice way of saying that. And that's the basis too of another feng shui, which
Mm.
which is it literally translated means wind, water. So
Mm.
it's like if wind went through your place, and it would move everything around so that it could flow freely through there. Same with
Right.
water.
Right.
So in the way you live, the way you arrange things around you, this is another reflection of how you are internally in
Yeah.
Chinese medicine. So, when you see open some closet and shit falls out, it's like,
Yeah.
well, my God, well, that's part of you.
Yeah.
Some aspect of you that you're just jamming in there and not looking at. Some aspect of you that you should really open up and start letting go of. Yeah, and also it extended into cooking too. We were also taught to how we cook and simple ingredients and how one thing goes together and how long. Yeah, it's just lovely.
I love it.
So I always have flowers and I'm always cooking along with my
Yeah.
body work. So it's been great. I mean, so
Yeah.
far.
I don't know if they teach this way in Chinese medicine, but in the Hindu tradition, the space between the branches is the masculine. The spaciousness is the masculine energy.
Oh,
And the matter, the tree, is the feminine.
okay. So in some, yes, hadn't thought of it in that aspect, but they do talk about in Chinese medicine how the yang, the masculine, is more like essence, like it's
Yeah.
always there. But it's when things consolidate that it becomes yin.
Oh, yeah. Same thing then,
Same.
essentially. Yeah.
But this is what we find out, right? The
Yeah.
commonality that we all are working under. So
Right.
it's not in body work. I reach out to different body workers, even people who, for some reason, when I have contact with them or I watch them, they aggravate me for some reason. I don't know why. I watch them work or I listen to what they're saying, and I just, because it's my love, my life. I I go, why are they? But then I make myself reach out to them
Yeah.
because I've realized that it's not competition; it's community.
Right.
This is the big thing, and it's always a learning experience because a lot of times our reactions are based on our own, and I'm going to use a Yiddish word, which
Mhm.
is ishigats, which is
Okay.
like the excessive baggage that we all carry around.
Yeah.
So it's like, just get rid of that stuff and just try to connect to a person. We're all the same on so many levels,
Mm-hmm.
much more than we're different, which I think we're all sort of finding out now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm coining the term for this for myself, the reckoning,
Yeah.
where everything is sort of self-regulating.
Right.
Along with the things that we've held as a common experience are starting to change around us. We look at our outside world, and I've been reading reports how the air quality is starting to improve.
Yeah.
And one thing that got my attention in Venice, they said that the canals are now almost crystal clear.
Oh,
Because
my goodness.
I know.
Wow.
So it's this. So yes, there's a lot of challenging times ahead of us, but I mean, collectively and singularly, we'll be fine. I mean, it'll just, it's a paradigm that's changing. And
Mm-hmm.
for that to happen, and another lovely experience in Chinese medicine, and that everything changes.
Oh, yes.
And we have to change with it.
Yeah.
So there's no dragging heels. There's going to be reluctancy, but the reality of our collective experience is going to take us along to where we
Yeah.
go.
Totally.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. I just went on a whole journey there with my my mind.
Great. That's lovely.
It's
See,
fun. Mm-hmm.
that's connection, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
like you're like, yes,
And so I loved what you said about how you have this practice of noticing when there's someone who's irritating to you, and then instead of rejecting them and not communicating with them, you reach out, which I think, if I may be so bold,
Please do.
reflects the quality of the relationship that you have with your own being.
Oh, that's Oh, that's lovely. I'm glad I know you. That's an awesome right-on statement.
Yeah.
That's true. And also too, just to put things in perspective on that, that doesn't happen immediately with me.
Yeah.
I mean, I acknowledge the irritation perhaps as long as I have to.
Yeah.
Uh, as you mentioned before, you just don't have beginner's mind or
Mhm.
whatever we're calling that in this conversation. But then I get around to it for sure.
Mhm.
Because I start to realize, and it's probably me. It's got to be me. I mean, that
Yeah.
person just doing their thing, doing their interpretation. I like to think that they mean more, that they mean more good than harm. So why
Right.
wouldn't I reach out and try to connect with that person?
Yeah.
Um, so, yeah.
I think one of my deepest beliefs now is that everyone is always doing their best.
That's so true, though. Isn't it?
Mhm. Yeah.
Because no matter, not compared to anything else, not to compare to their best, our best, what we think
Mhm.
it should be, what
Right.
we'd like it to be, which is a cornerstone in having, I think, a clear relationship. It's like we all go into any relationship, business, personal, anything, with some expectations of how it should be or how we want it to be.
Right.
And as you go along, you hopefully come to some situation where you go, I just have to accept what it is. I
Yeah.
want to accept what it is, not what I think it should be or what I want it to be. And then you start to connect.
Right.
Because after, if you're not doing that, you're just putting things in between, you know, and not that good space that we were talking about
Not the
before.
pause. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that lovely. I should be writing what you say down.
Well,
I'm
this
gonna,
is all going to be recorded.
okay. For
So you can watch
posterity.
it again.
Okay.
I think what's fun about this interview is that when you signed up, I'm like, I don't know who this person is, but he signed up, so there's a purpose for it.
Yeah, I didn't know you either, like I said, but
Yeah.
I have to say, this last few minutes, I feel a really nice connection with you,
Yeah.
um, and we have some ease in that, and
Hmm.
it just verifies that how we all are connected.
Yes.
I mean, we
And
have
just
some
to follow our,
commonality. Yeah,
we
we
do.
have commonality to work with, of course,
Yes.
what we do, but yeah,
And follow the intuition.
absolutely.
Yeah. Like I thought about, should I open these interviews up for anyone and just see who comes, or should I try to manage it and pick and choose the order, and I said forget that. I do not need to be in charge of this.
Okay,
I
good.
know that there is a divine principle that is governing all of this, and if I surrender and relax, beautiful, amazing conversations are going to take place.
Absolutely, it promotes
So
fluidity,
here we
right?
go. Having a beautiful conversation
Having a
about a
beautiful.
beautiful conversation. It's
Uh,
funny.
yeah, it can be.
Yeah. So let me see. I told you we would probably not follow these questions. So how, besides meditation, how do you take care of yourself so that you can continue to be of service and see all the clients that you see and teach all the students that you teach? What
Hmm.
are some things that you do to take care of yourself?
Well, like I said, I've been working for a long time, and I had the advantage when I originally went to school, that my primary teachers were very focused on not only the work, but practice outside of the work.
Mm,
So in our training, we cultivated Tai Chi and yoga and nutrition and like aforementioned meditation.
yeah.
And I've just always continued of that. And I'm a very generally, I think, pretty positive person and pretty up person.
Yeah.
Um, and I just follow those criterias. I just continually. It's like I've stayed in training for all those things.
Wow.
I mean, it's never lapsed. I mean, so I think that was really added to my longevity. But also, too, I mean, just the sheer joy, the pleasure the privilege of what I'm doing has kept me so into the work.
Yeah.
And, our mind rocks our boat, man. I mean, if your mind is good, I mean, your body will come along pretty well,
Hmm.
because the mind is the whole thing, right? I mean, and that's another premise in Chinese medicine. They say, the energy goes where your mind goes. So if you start thinking about something, all the energy goes there, and then you start cultivating this whole thing. So then why not something that's based in positive things? Because then
Yeah.
we have more of a tendency to go towards some positive resolution and a lot of different things. So yeah, I've kept that, and like I just love it. And I mean, if you feel good, I mean, it's easier uh, to
Mhm.
interact. So
Yes, very much. Yeah, I've had to learn that um, in a crash course kind of way over the last 6 years.
okay, well, good. It's like
Yeah.
our paths, right? It's like wherever they
Yeah.
all lead, hopefully, to the same place. So
Yeah.
uh, crash courses, again, it's like maybe something you didn't want it to happen that way, but it happened.
I'm so grateful.
Yeah,
Every
for
day
sure.
I'm grateful. And I love what you were saying about being in training, because it does feel like that. It feels like this is a continual training process. And I feel that we as body workers, as people who do healing work,
Mhm.
are so prepared
You,
for
you,
this
you,
time.
hopefully. I
Hmm.
mean, because of that, I mean, there's all sorts of ways of doing it,
Yeah.
anything. But I think that you're right. I mean, I think collectively as body workers and different health practitioners that we have more of a inclination to be able to deal with these things right now.
Yeah.
And in retrospect, not only that, but hopefully find some way like you're doing to extend out to help support people go through this.
Yeah.
So that's a huge, huge thing.
Great.
Mm.
Okay. Hmm. So what's your favorite, this is going to be a really funny question. What's your favorite way to work with people? Because you clearly have a million beautiful ways to work with people.
My favorite way,
Mm.
in which, what do you mean exactly with that? As far
Well, your favorite way to impact people, or your favorite thing about working with people, not necessarily the modality, but do you love teaching the most? Do you love working with beginning students? Do you love, what is it that you really, really love?
yes.
Yes.
I it's hard. That is interesting.
I know it's
Um,
a tough question.
I, like when you're working individually with someone, um, a lot of it depends on the person you're working with, the environment you're working in.
Hmm.
So I love the individuality of it. Uh, and that I think has been my greatest teacher is every session,
Mm.
especially if you can keep present and doing it. So that's so much. Um, but I'm smiling because the collective experience of teaching, wow, it's amazing.
Yeah.
They come together with a group of people, and a lot of times, well, I have a lot of repeat students now, but still the majority of them I don't know.
Hmm.
And to get bonded together and just to have that sense of connection and to be in a room to hold space and to really try to connect. Well, this is how I go about it anyway.
Yeah.
I watch people and observe how they move, what they say, how they talk, and then I go around in my teaching and connect with everyone individually, and I'll use something that they've already said or what they do or some cultural reference, and I
Yeah.
can just feel us connecting, you
Mm.
know, and then to bring everyone together and then share whatever modality I happen to be teaching at that time. And I guess maybe I would say it's hard to say which is my favorite, but I get a lot of joy out of the teaching because, and then watching people who maybe have never done that before start to get it. So there's so much joy out of that. On an individual basis, you could work on someone, right? And they could benefit from it greatly, but you really don't know what they're going to do with it.
Mhm.
Because even though we tend to think okay, we're working on these people. The vast majority of the work is what they do off of your table or off of your mat. So, and I'm assuming that, especially if you see someone on a regular basis, you see if they're doing that or not. But in a classroom setting, you can see it pretty immediately. And you can also give some feedback, and then you can see them changing.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't say one or other is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I just was talking about, the different aspects of both on an individual basis and on a collective experience.
Mm-hmm.
And it's talking about that made me miss both of them dearly right now, because
No, I know.
I'm not doing either one. And it's
Yeah.
like, it's like I got emotional right there. I would have teared up if I wasn't on a Zoom chat, but
Yeah,
that's our lives, man. It's such a big part of our lives.
it is.
And now, well, we get to reflect on how it made us feel, how we went about it. And then after this, we can look at things that we maybe wanted to change or wanted to add to. So again, some positivity in this yin time to
Mm-hmm.
really explore, study, and then when you have opportunity to actually remove that 6 feet of separation and
Right.
have some contact.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good topic for our conversation. 6 feet of separation.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah. But see, that's the thing about conversation, isn't it? Like, you ask good questions and it makes me think, because
Yes.
we do them, but are we active? I never really thought which was my favorite. I've been just so blessed and busy doing them both.
Yeah.
And I have been asked that to a certain extent, what do you like better? And I really never could answer definitely one way or the other.
Right.
So,
I think this whole idea also, going back to your 6 feet of distance, in the world of energy, we're not ever not touching someone.
true. That's a very good point, right? Like here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel connected to you right now.
Yeah.
And it's not just because I'm staring at your big, lovely face on the screen, and your background, but also just because the commonality of us all, we're also basically the same. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like in body work, I always get this question, how do you? I was like, it's like working on yourself to a certain extent.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have our different variations because of our life experiences. And it's not only the experiences so much, but how we choose to react to the experiences,
Mm-hmm.
which brings a lot of individuality into our aspects. So it's like, it's a good opportunity to just really explore that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow. My heart, I just like just talking about what we do is just so nurturing to me.
Yeah.
I'm doing that intermittent fasting. I have been for a while.
Oh.
So I haven't eaten yet, but it really feels like I'm getting fed on some level right now. So thank you for
You're
that.
welcome. Yeah, likewise. I know.
Yeah,
I feel very warm in my heart just having this conversation and connecting to what really matters right now.
true.
I think what I really love to teach is this, is how to how to connect through the heart with other people, and how to kind of drop this idea that we aren't connected in this way.
Yeah, we got to drop that fast.
Yeah,
And here's another thing, just to elaborate on that point, if I may.
sure.
That sense of connection. In teaching and in doing, I constantly get asked this, how to do, what to do, all this. Now, do we approach it this way? Do we do this? Do we do that? And I've been telling myself for years, and if I'm telling my students if they choose to listen, that before any theory, it's the
Mm-hmm.
connection.
Yes.
Before any theory. So if you're approaching someone and they're trying to tell you something, and you're already thinking about what you're going to be doing,
Yeah.
you're doing both of you a disservice.
Mm-hmm.
You have to hold space and take everything in and just start working.
Yep.
And then we all know what to do. We have schooled, we've studied, we have years of experience. We know what to do, but I don't know what I'm going to do. And if I start doing that, I don't know how that person is going to react. So
Right.
before anything, connection. And if you have that connection, after a while, and again, I can only speak for myself, after a while, it's not I don't even think about what I'm going to do. It's more like listening to what their body is telling me.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that sounds, saying it out loud,
No.
but that is the experience I've had for years.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like beginner's mind, it just didn't happen. But it's just me trying to stay present and to try to cultivate that connection before anything else. So, yeah, that's an interesting thing.
I practice very similarly. I never know what we're going to do.
It's true.
I don't know because things are changing all the time.
Yeah.
And it might look like 20 minutes of body work and 20 minutes of dance.
Oh, that's fun. Huh?
I mean, all
No,
kinds of stuff. All I'm interested in is, what is this person's body? What is their soul trying to say to me? What do they need right now?
no, that's so true. And, this other concept, and we all are trying to do our best, like you mentioned earlier in the
Yeah.
conversation. And, I get asked a lot of times, it's like, well, you've been teaching this. Can you teach me some advanced techniques? Oh, I love that term, advanced techniques. And to me, the advancement comes from the therapist, is like where they're at.
Yeah.
Like you can do a simple contact like this, and it can be so significant if you are internally aligned with that
Yeah.
person. So I've been teaching a lot like the internal alignment to make your techniques advanced. So
Beautiful.
yeah, that's a thing that, and again, these concepts didn't start when I first started working, but
Right.
they're so clear now. It's like a light shining on it. I mean, it's like, this is the thing. And I can only teach and do my truth. I can't do anything else. I can't
Yeah.
do anything else. It's just, I have to teach, say, speak my truth about it,
Mm-hmm.
about body work anyway. I think probably that's my clearest aspect in my life, is
Mm-hmm.
through body work and the different aspects of it. So those advanced techniques, in my mind, in my heart, are propelled by the internal alignment more so than anything of of what you're doing. I'm not demeaning any other.
Modalities or
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
no, that's not my intention. But in those modalities, you think about why somebody can do this, and the person is amazed, and some person can do this, and they're like,
Nothing's
you know,
happening. Yeah.
eh, So anyway, so that's that.
Yeah. I think for me, the more things I learn, um, there came a time when I stopped wanting to do more and more and more classes. And I
Yeah,
got simpler and simpler and simpler, to where now what I understand about body work is that I'm here to love this person.
right on, man.
That's it.
That's all. That's everything.
Yeah.
That's everything. I do though. I mean, I do take classes from other body workers.
Mm-hmm.
I have a tendency to take more from Asian body workers now, but people. I mean, I just go there, and because beginner's mind is, like student's mind in a way, not those students who aren't paying attention mind, but the
Yeah.
students who are there to take something in. And I could, you do the same thing and over, and if you're paying attention, you learn something.
Totally deeper and new.
Yes, ma'am. So this is the thing, right? So I've had lovely experiences taking classes from other people who've been doing body work, and it's not just so much how long they've been doing it, but something I get from them,
Yeah.
or I
It's their
trust,
heart.
the lineage
Yeah.
that they've studied with. There's a Thai body worker or teacher, Pishet, in Thailand, and I've had the privilege of working with a lot of his top students.
Mm.
Uh, and they hold classes, and in Chicago is great, mecca for
Yeah.
body workers. I mean, if they don't live here, people come through her all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned quite a bit. And is it new? maybe not what they're showing, but how I'm feeling it, how I'm experiencing it, because I'm in student mind.
Right.
So I look at it differently. I'm looking at the same thing but from a different perspective. So it looks different. Other aspects, other facets of the gem are revealed in that moment. So I just love that. So
Mm. Is
we're
there
having,
any classes that
we're having a good time, aren't we?
we are having a
I
good
know,
time.
I know that. I
Yeah,
love that.
I
Are there
love
any
it.
classes that you said you started this?
That you've signed up for, assuming,
No,
that'll happen for you soon.
uh, not right now. I mean,
Yeah.
the past year was, and thankfully, very busy for me. I travel a lot teaching.
Yeah.
And usually after that, I mean, it's very cyclical. So
Yeah.
this year I had a lighter travel plan for to go to different cities to teach. And I was planning on taking some. I hadn't decided what,
Yeah.
uh, but now it's changed. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
We'll wait and see.
After the fact, I'm sure like all of us will be doing all sorts of activities that try
Right.
to, get out there again. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for this. Really, I mean, the whole conversation to me was a gift.
Oh, I feel the same way. And like
Yeah.
any good thing, look at time is so relative. Like, whoosh,
Yeah. I know. Like
that
it
was fun.
passed like 5 minutes.
Uh,
Is there, do you have anything in mind that's a simple practice that people could use to support their bodies during
um,
this time?
I like to think so. I mean, again, I'm going to give a shout out to all the people like yourself and different practitioners and musicians and everything that are going online to put their practices out there so people can come to them via the internet and try to have that experience and to have some connection.
Yeah.
Um, the thing that comes to mind is just that sense of some meditative practice.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a difference between being forced into something and to approach something through your own volition.
Mm.
And so I just think it's so prime to whatever physical things you're doing that you have some cultivated time where you just sit and unplug, because we all have a tendency to be socially entertained through TV, internet, this, and just voluntarily go in a little bit and just try to focus more on our simple following of our breath and just to be joyous about being still and quiet and just let things pass over you like clouds. They used to say like meditation is like clouds passing over your head and not trying to grab onto them, but just let
Yeah.
everything go. Because it's such an fortifying internal thing to do for yourself,
Mm.
you know, um, along with some damn good food and strong coffee or black tea, I think, just to keep us motivated and doing things. So, sitting still is doing something.
It is.
To cultivate some sort of patience and calm is a very big strength. So I think that's what we should, or I know I should, and focus on more, because this is what we draw from right now. Our
Yeah.
internal sense of self and our internal sense of nutrition, nurturing strength.
Mm.
So.
I feel like I've known you forever.
Girl, I gotta say, I feel the same way. So it's been awesome.
It has been. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Okay.
Okay, everyone. Stay tuned for the next one. But first, Randy, how can people reach out to you if they want to learn from you or take one of your classes or ask a question?
Oh, sure. On Facebook, my bodywork page is Black Swan Bodywork.
Okay.
And my website is blackswanproductions.com.
Okay.
And anybody who wants to reach out can go to my Facebook, or else send email to my website, randy@blackswanproductions.com.
Okay.
So I'd like to hear from some people. We all are sort of a audience that is captive. So it's lovely to open up different lines of communication with people.
Yeah.
A wonderful opportunity to do that.
Yeah. What I think would be lovely to hear from you more if you were so inclined to offer it as some of these practices that keep us that we can use to develop as body workers, like the arranging of the flowers and the meditation. And I
Oh,
don't know if
well,
you ever thought of offering that online, but or just talking about it online would be
well,
beautiful.
I mean, it's like because of seeing other people do it, I never really thought of that. We are talking about discussing about the ability to maybe how can you teach bodywork online, but there's different aspects of it that can cultivate that internal alignment that I was talking about that I think
Yeah,
really not only help whatever work you're doing on the table or the mat, but also in our lives. Because, life is abundant away from what we do. So,
it is. And what
uh,
better time to cultivate inner alignment than now?
exactly.
Hmm.
I mean, this is not a time to fritter away things. It's like really look at what's important. That's what we're all being forced to do, right? Is look at what's
Yes.
truly, truly important to us. And just to end, it's like that sense of depending on someone else to do something for you or
Hmm.
depend on someone else to give you something. You look at what's happening now. And even though the government is making overtures to take care of us, all of that truly comes from us internally.
Hmm.
So, let's all get busy and start to cultivate that more than we have been.
Yes. Randy, thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.
Mm,
Hope to talk to you or see you again one day.
I ditto.
Okay, ditto. And goodbye, everyone. And know that I love y'all, and we'll just get through this together. And we can. This is a growing experience for all of us, for sure.
Hmm.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Okay.